Welcome to Time with T. Thank you so much for choosing to spend time with me. There are 5 things that I will always talk about: gender-based violence, literature, performing arts, agenda, and myself. Today, I am without a shadow of a doubt talking about the performing and entertainment industry in its entirety. And I just want to get into it by saying our artists don't make enough money to sustain themselves. Our artists don't make enough money to sustain the lifestyle that they need. And sometimes we do blame these artists and say they don't know how to manage money, they don't know how to do this, they don't know how to do that. But let's talk about what it means being a public figure in our country. Safety first. Security has to be number 1. You cannot be a public figure and live where I live. No security. Nothing like that. And the places that offer the high-end security that they require is in the burbs, and we're talking about how much per month. I just want us to look at the numbers. And then when you are a public figure, you can't use public transport like Rona. So you can't. You need to have your own car. Le safety. You can't just settle on a skedonk. You know, you have to have a good car that has all these safety features. Costly. You add on insurance. You add on petrol money. It's expensive to live in a country as a public figure. And then to be in an industry where you don't make enough, and then you end up having to downsize and all of those things. And in instances, you know who this post is inspired by, you have to move back home. And when you do move back home, especially when there's no work coming in, you are not welcomed with open arms. Even if you have contributed what you've contributed. But I don't want to speak about family matters per se, because I speak about family matters all the time, and I always say that not all parents are good parents. Not all parents are good parents, and not every single one of us have good parents. I will talk about it at a later stage. I always talk about this issue. So for now, I just want to talk about how the industry itself is not treating the artists fair. And in as much as little now as society, we can say we need to do something, we need to say something, we need to boycott these shows, we need to boycott these productions, we need to boycott this. There's only so much we can do, because whether we boycott them or not, they're still going to do it. You know why? Because if an artist says, I cannot do this for 500 rand, there's an artist that's willing to do twice the work for half the money. So even if we protest and say this and say that, until the industry itself is regulated, especially contractually, and the agreements that the artists get into is regulated, that is the only time where we will see a bit of a change. Because as things are right now, and I'm seeing with a lot of these apps, and now that's why I like other streaming platforms better, because you know that at least there they are getting a little bit of their worth, and their contracts are adjusted accordingly. And with other channels, it's not the same. But here's the thing: when an artist gets a job or gets a gig, they have to really look at the contracts that they sign. If your contract says you're only going to get paid for this gig, for this duration, then that is exactly what is going to happen. If it is not included in the contract that you're going to get royalties, you're going to do that, if it's not included in the contract, unfortunately, there is nothing anybody else can do for you. So, but my thing is, our artists are also so hungry that they are willing to sign any contract without even going through it. Sometimes going through it knowing that it's not fair, but because they are so hungry, they will sign. But it is not okay the way that our artists are being exploited. There are so many production companies, production houses that are making so much money for the work that they are no longer paying the artists for. And that is what needs to look into. And right now, unfortunately, because I had the pleasure of speaking to somebody else, and they were so forthcoming with the details of the contracts, And then you realize, because it's somebody that I thought had a case, and then after going through the contract, I realized, you really actually don't. You agreed that you will only be a part of this for this duration, and after what happens beyond that, you don't get anything. And this is a perfect example of what it means to protect the work that you do. Tonally photography, I learned over the festive season that if a photographer takes a picture of me, and it's not a photographer that is hired by me, I don't own the picture, they do. And they can do whatever they want with it. They can sell it for whatever amount that they want to sell it for. And sometimes they don't even have to give me a cent. They don't have to give me a cent. A photographer can take a picture of me, and then they can do with it whatever they want, and I don't have a say. And I was talking about this with my team members. We were really looking at each other like, wait, what? So that's the same thing. If you are hired, for example, if a production company hires you for two seasons on a series that they're producing, you get paid for 2 seasons. What happens after the thing? If that was not included in your contract, you cannot say anything. There's absolutely nothing that you can do or say. You have no say whatsoever. There is zilch, zero that you can do. So the entertainment industry is not set up to be fair to the artists. The contracts are not set up to be fair for the artists. We can say maybe they were fair back then because there were not a lot of opportunities. We didn't have a lot of streaming and online this. There wasn't a lot of maybe let's repeat this, or like repeat broadcasting and having a show play from one channel to another. There wasn't a lot of that. So the system was built for the way things were back then. But now, because things have changed, the system has got to change. The contracts that are offered to the artist has got to change, and not just the actors and like for theater and for television, but for musicians too. The industry is changing, therefore everything else under the industry has got to change. It is not fair that we have artists that pass away destitute. It is not fair that we have artists now who are living in our country who are extremely talented and they are not working because they are also blacklisted. It is not fair that there are so many injustices that take place in the entertainment industry and people are not talking and they are not loud enough about this, and they are not even saying anything in some instances because of the fear of being blacklisted, because of the fear of not being hired, or because of the fear of just simply being fired, because you people get fired all the time, and without proper security, without proper anything to fall back on, people get fired. They lose their lives, their livelihood. They lose everything. They lose their shelter. They lose there has got to be, and even the contracts that people sign have got to allow them to take on other projects while they're busy with this, because it is not fair to expect one person to do one project for an extended period of time where there is no increase, where there are no benefits, where it's just not fair. And one person doesn't have one talent. A lot of people are multidisciplinary artists and they are skilled in many different fields, and the industry is so big and so broad that a lot of people can benefit from a lot of things and make more money, so they don't have to find themselves stranded like a lot of people that we see who are stranded. The next thing you're on social media, it's not because that is what they choose and what they prefer for their life, but it's because the circumstances at the time are really just dire, and we have to be understanding as a society. We also have to speak out for artists, and because And these artists I'm talking about things that these artists know, but like I said, they're afraid to speak because they will be blackballed, they will be blacklisted. And this industry is so small. I've always compared it, I would always say this industry is like 7-Eleven. Everybody knows everybody, and everybody knows everybody's business. Because, and then oftentimes we see the same faces. We will say, there's a new show, but it's the same faces, because the producers are the same people, because these production companies are owned by the same people. So they will then cast and hire people who behave, people who act right. Because remember, everybody's got their person, everybody's got their people. So if you are in cahoots with certain people, you will always have a job. But if you are the one who will always speak out, who is deemed as a troublemaker, I can mention a lot of names of people who are incredibly talented and are no longer working, all because they spoke out against the injustices that happen within the entertainment industry. And there's also this issue of couch casting. There are a lot of people who are doing this thing, and it's so not fair, because the people who don't want to get work using their body, but who want to get work using the talent, don't get hired because they don't put out. It's almost as if you have to sell your soul. The industry is designed for artists to sell their souls to the highest bidder. You have to sell your soul to the devil. You have to make deals with the devil so that you can get a step ahead. And there are some people who really have moral standards and who live by their moral standards. And when you have morals in the entertainment industry in our country, you don't go very far, unfortunately. And if you are going to speak out against the injustices that happen in the industry, you are not going to go far. You lose your job, you lose this, you lose your connection. Even the people who you thought would be there for you will be nowhere to be found, because they want to get their next gig. They don't want to mess up with their bread. And that is why sometimes you see a lot of artists don't get involved with a lot of campaigns, especially social, that has a lot to do with social ills, because they don't want to mess up their bag. They don't want to find themselves aligning with certain messages and certain movements because of their brands. Because if an actress who is known for a role such as this, they can't be caught speaking out about certain things, or if they were hired, because if they were couch casted, they cannot get involved with Me Too movements, because and then if they do, they know they will never work another day in the country. That is not okay. And until we can fix those little not little, because these problems are not little. Until we can fix those big problems, it is only then that the industry will be better. It is only then that the industry will be a tad bit fair. It is only then that the artists can have more security. And this happens on TV, commercials, series, local films, movies, documentaries, theater, everything in music industry, everything that has to do with entertainment. Because, and this is the industry that I'm going to speak about a little bit more, but I know that in other industries it happens as well. It's just that I'm not going to speak on it, and I can't make certain examples, but we know what's going on in our country. We all are aware. We all have access to the internet. We all know in every single industry, and we speak about them when it's our celebrities, because we're there in the public eye. There are so many people behind the scenes who are controlling this thing, and they are not being spoken about, because it's not the one that when the film starts, it's not their faces that we see when we watch whatever it is that we find entertaining. My plea is that we need to, well, one of the way those many actors were once fired on that soapy all at once, like the storyline changed, those artists stuck together and they were all fired. If artists can come together like that and speak with one voice, and just expose all these people that exploit them. Maybe then we will see change. But for as long as they are quiet, there's really nothing we can do. You only get help when you ask for it, and you will only be heard when you speak. Look at Brenda right now. She's in a situation. See, she spoke out because she was at the end of her road, at the end of her rope. She couldn't hang on anymore, and she's getting the help that she needs. So if you ask for help, you will get it. But because everybody is just so quiet, why did silence become a part of us? When did silence become a part of us? Why did we normalize being quiet about issues that eat away at an industry that we all love and adore so much? I wish that we can move away from being people who are afraid to speak out. We need to speak out. The entertainment industry hurts our artists. The entertainment industry hurts our creators. The entertainment industry only benefits people who don't entertain us. The people that have bigger seats at bigger tables are not the ones that are reading lines and shooting scenes and reading books and writing scripts, and they are not the ones doing the work. The ones that are doing the work are the ones that suffer the most, and that is the biggest problem with our entertainment industry. So here's what I'm reading now. Of course, I'm not gonna go without telling you guys what I'm reading. A Woman by Kabelo Chabalala. I'm rereading it, and if you don't know, well, you're about to find out, because I'm gonna let you know why I'm rereading this. Yep, Kabelo Chabalala is one of those authors that I will always want to have a conversations with for anything that they do. We first had Kabelo Chabalala for his first serving, A Journey from Boyhood to Manhood, and now he's back with another one, A Woman, and just judging by the intro, we need another one. We're gonna need a third one. So this is why I'm rereading it. So I will see you there. Be sure to book your seat. Be sure to RSVP. CWTA at statetheatre.co.za. Otherwise, let us do what we can in this industry. Let's do what we can with what we have. Let's share the knowledge that we have. Let's share the information that we have. Let's help whoever we can help, because without artists, who would we be? Where would we be? What would we listen to? What would we watch? What would we read? Let's save our artists. I'm out for now. Love and light.